Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Town. So in the previous episode we started building this new military town out in the southeast. We pushed our way out into Biter territory and started building this so that we could extend it later on to have an entire defensive wall in the southeast that will protect us from Biter attacks from that particular direction. But first we want to set up the production of military science packs here, and that will require a couple of things, half of which we already have really. We've got coal and iron supplied right here, and this is why I chose it, because both of those are used extensively in military research, including coal. Coal isn't often used in many proper recipes, but the changes to science that came along with 0.15 made it so that stone and coal both have a role to play in research at some point, and this is where the coal comes in. It is used in making grenades, which are needed for the science packs, as are turrets, and also armor-piercing ammo. And so some of it we'll be making on site, some of it we'll be delivering in, depending on what we have being made elsewhere. What I'm currently setting up is a coal supplying system for all the trains here. Seeing as we're mining coal here, might as well put that in place. It uses a very small amount of coal and makes it a lot less likely that we're going to have some sort of issue with trains running out of coal at some point in the future. I don't know whether any trains that we'll be visiting here will need supplying, but it's always good to have it in place just in case, and it gives you more options. Really, at some point I should set up a system that delivers coal to every town and then has it go into fueling all the trains there, so that every single station has a coal supply and you never have to worry about what trains are going where. Because there are a lot of stations that don't have coal right now, and so if I wasn't paying attention and I had a train running between two of them, I wouldn't notice, and then we'd end up with some big backup of a bunch of trains somewhere. Who knows, maybe one is happening right now. I didn't notice this episode, I didn't see many trains around the place in the grand scheme of things, but that's probably because I spent most of the time in this town sorting out all the production. So we do with this Biter base up here was a little bit too close for comfort. I set up a couple of turrets around so that I'd have somewhere to run back to just in case. But we want to clear out the space immediately around here, because once we get things running, there'll be a lot of pollution being generated, and nearby Biter bases will want to attack here. So we've only got a couple of turrets on the front, which are fine for the moment, because biters who come this way will probably only be trying to get to other towns, or maybe trying to colonize, in which case there is a danger. But once we actually have production running, this will be generating pollution itself, and then biters will be interested in attacking this town in particular, and so they might start attacking from the side. So I'm extending the guns out to the sides just in case that happens, and it will at some point. Most of the towns have to deal with attacks from the sides, even when it doesn't seem like the biters can attack from that direction, but they do like to take weird routes sometimes to get to where they're trying to go. I end up getting through most of the ammo supply I've got on me fueling these, which is a bit of a problem, but of course we'll be having it being delivered in fairly soon. So basically the way this is going to work is the grenades, we can make them entirely with what we have here. They use coal and iron, we're making both of them here. Turrets will be a little bit more fiddly, they require iron, gears and copper. The copper will deliver in from Forgedale, and the gears we can just make out of the iron. I could have made a gear town, but it's just not worth it. It's literally put iron in, get gears out. Why, it's not a, just do it on site. So that is an exception, whereas when it comes to circuits, it is actually a bit of a fiddly setup to do, and so I have that in its own place. But yeah, gears, it's just not worth it. I might as well imagine gears to really mean iron with an extra step. So we'll do the gear production here, we'll run that in, and that's the turret sorted, and then of course we will also need armor-piercing ammo, which we will deliver in from Fortin, of course, and so we'll be good. That will make the military science packs, and then we'll send those over to Flaskmere. For the moment, I'm just going to use trains I already have. Actually, I think I set up one new train. This train here ends up getting used to deliver the military science packs to Flaskmere later. Everything else can be done by trains that we already have in place, and the awesome thing is that since 0.15 introduced all the abilities to control trains remotely, I never have to leave this base to do it. I could just, like, I run out of materials fairly early on, but I can resupply on iron and coal. Well, I don't really need much coal, but I can resupply on iron from the supplies here, and once I need some copper, I can just tell a train to come along and resupply it. It's great. It means I don't have to run around all the time setting up trains in different places and pootling about in the car everywhere. I can just get on with the work here, focus on it, and get it all done in one go, which is fantastic. Also making a couple of grenades there before we have our grenade production, so we can clear out the trees to build the grenade production. And those will probably be the last grenades that I ever need to craft, because of course we'll make use of the supplies of the production we'll have here to resupply my inventory. Might as well. and it'll save a lot of time on like crafting turrets and things. The amount of turrets I've crafted in this series is crazy, but finally those days are over. We can just get them from this town. We'll just have a stack of them on us at all times, and that'll be wonderful. So of course when I set it up, I go for the ratios and things. I decided that what I'll do is I will have 5 assemblers making the military science packs, and that is because that means I'll be making 1 per second, technically. Basically it takes 10 seconds to make 2 science packs, because you make 2 at once from each single turret, grenade and ammo you get in, which is probably for the best, because otherwise it'd be really expensive to have a grenade, a turret and an armor-piercing ammo magazine thing. To make a single science pack. It's a bit much for that. So it's sort of a good way of doing it, of like, you want all those things to be used in the recipe for you to like reach that sort of technology level for it, but it's a bit too much to have them be 1 science pack. So the devs just made it that you get 2 per craft, which is nice, and that means we only need half the assemblers as well, because when it takes 10 seconds to produce 2, you only need 5 to produce 1 a second. But yeah, the thing about the seconds is it's not quite that, because of the way the assemblers work. No assemblers produce at a rate of 1. They all have weird production rates. So I think the level 1s are either 0.25 or 0.5, and then the level 2s I think are 0.75, and then the level 3s are 1.25. So you'll never be making them at a rate of 1 per second, but it doesn't matter because all the ratios will be same. All the ratios will be the same. I forgot vocabulary for a second there. But yeah, you're using the same assembling machines for each step of the process, so it doesn't matter if the ratio doesn't actually match exactly what you were well, it's not even a ratio, it's just that the numbers don't match exactly a second. They all match each other, and that's what matters. It gets a little bit more fiddly when you have to account for other things like chemical plants, science labs, admittedly, and a couple of other things as well that use furnaces, of course. When it comes to science labs, it doesn't really matter, because different research takes different amounts of time anyway, so whenever it comes to doing science, I just play it by ear, and if the science is built up, I build more science labs, and if it's run down, I don't build more science labs, I build more science instead. So that works fine. It just depends on what particular research you're doing as to whether things build up or not. And so half the time you don't even need to build new science labs when it has actually built up, because it might be that you're just doing a particularly low science for a moment, or particularly slow science. Anyway, I was just sorting out one of the trains there, telling it to hop over to here and deliver some ammo. I've sorted out some belts delivering it. It was a little bit fiddly because we're trying to unload from both wagons at once, and I'm also trying to keep some space open for the south side of the tracks, just in case there's more loading and unloading to happen later. That is the only station that's going to be taking trains here for possibly ever. I don't know if I'm going to be building any more stations further out to the east, so that other station is going to be fairly useless. So we'll have to make sure that we can stretch the eastbound station as much as we can. And by the way, for the record, that is how the naming conventions work, is I call the stations like Chipton East because it is the eastbound station. A train is facing east when it arrives, and that's why the north side of the tracks is east and the south side of the track is west. It's just because I use it that way, and so I know which station to tell a train to go to when I'm working out what it's doing, because I will say, okay, well, the train's going to be arriving, travelling east, so it wants to go to the east station. That's how I remember it. So that's why it works like that. Also, recently there was a little bit of a mini update that changed the angle of station names in the mini-map, so that now they are at a jaunty angle so that they don't get in the way of other station names that might be next to them, depending on whether you've got horizontal or vertically arranged stations, which is a nice way of doing it. Initially, it was compulsory, and it was a 45-degree thing that actually messed up a lot of people, but they've now changed it so it's toggleable, and I think you can even change the exact angle. You can literally just pick a degree for it to stick out at, and currently it's now set to 30 after previously being at 45. So that's a neat little feature, lots of little quality of life things that the devs are always introducing, and of course listening to the players by realising that people might want a particular arrangement. I believe that as soon as that update came out and people started suffering from it, people started linking the XKCD comic. Of course, there's always an XKCD comic for every situation. The one about workflow breaking. That no matter how good you think a bug fix might be, it will ruin someone's workflow. So they had an example of overheating when pressing the spacebar being used by somebody to represent control because the control key's too far away, that sort of thing. You probably read it. If you haven't read it, then, XKCD is always a fun thing. And yeah, they've got a comic for everything. I mean, it's been going for like 12 years or something, so at a certain point you run out of topics. Anyway, getting on with all that, we are running out of time before I actually pick the name. So before I pick the name for the military town, I should go through the list of names that we have. So all that is, standard stuff, setting up furnaces, finishing off all the systems. So that's all good. You know where we're going with that. So let's get to the list of names. We have 186 names to go through. I think not the most we've ever had, but still a pretty hefty amount. I guess it's been reduced by the fact that I got the episode out a little bit sooner this time. That's the thing, it's sort of in my best interest to get the episodes out as often as possible so that you can't bombard me with quite so many names each time. So let us begin. We have Area 51, which I swear is just suggested for every single town at this point. Also Area 76, Area 903, Armorborough, Armsdale, Armton, Astris Militarium, Atrocity, clever, Ball and Musket, Bayonet Point, Bentham's Behemoth Barricade, Biter Battle End, Biter Come Get Shot, Biter's End, Biter's Nightmare, Blackadder Science Complex, Blitzburg, Blockade, Beauforts, Bomb Glen, Bombsgrove, Boomtown, Boom Castle, Boom Goes the Dynamite, Bulwark, Cadia, Caernarfon. I think I got that vaguely right. It's Welsh, so apologies, Avak, if I got that horrifically wrong. Castle Greyskull, yeah, after last time, there's a couple more Greyskull references this time around. Castle Hill, Checkpoint, Chain Town Complex, Church Hill, Clifton, Clipswitch, Comsec, Milnav Pack. I think that's a reference. I don't know what to. I can guess what it stands for, but no idea where it comes from. Concussshire, Darpershire, Darperton, Deadtown, Deathonham, Deathville, Deeprun, Defensia, Detroit, Donetsk, East Killingholm, East Point, East Boom, Eastern Front, East Fort, East Front, East March, East Point Grad, East Shire, East Wall, Endgame, Ender's Outpost, Enfield, Explotin, Ferocity. Well, Ferro City, that's a nice one as well. Fire in the Hole, Firefield, Fizzle, FN Hersity, FN Herstal, Forbidden City, Fort Boom, Fort Denison, Fort Knox, Fraghammer, Fragminster, Front Towards the Enemy, Gallipoli, Gibraltar, Glocksfoster. That's another nice pun there. A lot of good puns in this one. Granada, Gunchester, Gunmetal, Gunningham, Gunpoint, Gunport, Gunsbury, Gunsport, Gunston, Gunton, Guntost, Hadrian's Wall, Helm's Deep, Hopeton, Journey's End, Carillia, Keep Behemoth, Keep Out, Keldor, Kilbiter, Cruppingen, Langley, Laser St. Gun, Laserton, Leadton, Lighton, Littlehampton, Redoubt, Londinium, Loston, Megaton, Millcamp, Militerhouse, Poston, Milham, Millets, Milton Keynes, Milltown, Monitor, Morganfast, Muchbang, Muniton, Muzzle Hills, Newforton, Newcombe, Oberdorf, Ordnerton, Ostmark, PUW, Pew Town, Pewshire, Point Blank, Point Shrapnel, Pull the Pin, Rhinemetal, Rifling, Rock Iron Armory, Russia, Shooters Hill, Shootersbury, Shrap Hill, Shrapnel, Shrapnelton, Shrapnel Within Trees, Shrapville, Slugchuck, Southrop Grumman. I think the guy said Southrop Gunman, though. I think that was a misspell because Southrop Grumman would make more sense. Always make sure to actually spell your names right. Sparta, Springfield, Stillcaster, Stromborough, Tila, the Bethagon, the End, Town 51, Triggerham, Troy, Tumbledpork, Turretum, Turretia, Turreton, Turret Town, Uoxoville. It's Uxoville. I don't know. It's a reference to something. I forget exactly what. Verdun, Vickersville, Vulcan. And then this one is just someone throwing a really awkward German word at me just to try and make me say it. Waffenforschungsseintichung? That's the best you're getting. Waltham, Want You Gone, War City, Warbrook. By the way, excuse me. The guy who said Want You Gone said it was an obscure reference. Portal 2 is not obscure. I want that on record. Want You Gone, many people know that. War City, Warborough, Warburg, Warbury, Warcaster, Worcestershire. Actually, that's probably Worcestershire, based on the on Worcester and Worcestershire and all that. Very confusing English thing of just let's just have this word be 3 times as long as it sounds, just to mess with people. Worcester, Warfield, Warhead, Warhenge, Warringham, Warsaw, Worcestershire. Again, that's a similar thing. Worcesterfield, Wartoft, Webleyton, West End, West End Fort. I've got news for you. The town's in the east, not the west. You've got your directions confused there. Whiskey Outpost, Winchester, Woolwich, Zapmarch, Zappery, and Zapton. Whew, right, yes, so, as we were, we just hopped over to Flaskmere there to sort out the unloading of the military science packs. So now just checking that everything is operating properly. The train is running. It's not a very good system to have one train entirely dedicated to delivering these science packs. Really, I should get a train that goes to the military town as well as all the other science pack places. But we are going to have a rail overhaul soon, so I decided just to not put a bunch of work into it at this point. Also, the issue is that if I got the current science train to take a detour over to the military town, it would then be facing backwards because of how the rails are arranged. So I'm going to have to work something out with that. I may have to put a turning point in place where a train like pulls into an area and then leaves again, facing the other way to reset its orientation, or just make it a train that is mirrored between its two cargo wagons. Something to work out when the time comes. Of course, more science towns will turn up later that will possibly change the situation again so that it flips around twice and ends up back where it started. But I will reveal the name momentarily. Of course, I've got to go make sure I've got enough concrete and stone and stuff first. And also, I always make sure to name the towns at the very end of the episode or very close to it to make sure that I've had enough time in post-commentary to actually list all the names. So that's always towards the end. So it will be revealed a little bit later on. And of course, I will also reveal the name of who suggested it. If I remember by that point, I may forget. I often forget, I'll admit. I usually remember in like the next episode to actually mention it, and yeah, I'll try to this time. But a lot can happen in like 3 minutes. I could have forgotten already. So yes, it looks like Flaskmere is working fine. That's all good. I'm taking a moment to sort out the defences over in Forgedale because they are falling apart. And I also deal with a couple of other biter bases nearby to the military town that could be a bit of a threat to it. We've still not got the defences fully operational. We'll get those done soon. That'll be a job, though, for the start of next episode. And then I think the bulk of next episode will be sorting out the major defensive wall that this military town will be the base of. And once that is in place, we will have so much more free time to work on other things. We'll only have one of the 4 directions that biters will be able to attack us from, and it'll be a lot easier and take a lot less time to deal with the biter bases from there, so that will be lovely. But we actually have to get that wall in place first. It'll be a lot easier to do, though, because, of course, we'll have a bunch of turrets being constantly churned out by the assemblers there. By the way, if you noticed, I didn't get the ratios quite right. It takes 8 seconds to make a turret and to make a grenade, and so you would only need 4 assemblers to make the military science packs, well, to make 1 per second. I put in an extra one of each so that I can build up a supply of turrets and grenades so that I can use them for myself. That's the reasoning there. Honestly, I probably need more assemblers for turrets, considering how many I'm about to be building. It's going to be pretty crazy. Also, the production of them isn't up to full speed yet. It's going to take a lot of iron for that, and so I'm going to have to work on that a bit more. I think I'm going to have like double the furnaces. It's going to be more than that. Looking at the production, at the consumption there of iron, we're going to need more than twice as many furnaces to be able to make them as fast as we want. So that is an issue. With any luck, the military science will build up soon, and then it won't be so much of a problem. Everything will back up, and then we'll have some iron in reserve, and we'll have some turrets in reserve. So that's a bit of an awkward thing. But I imagine the science will be running at full speed, and also we'll very soon run out of military science because we don't actually have that much to do, because we did a lot of it before you needed military science packs to do it back in 0.14. So we need to get on with purple science pretty rapidly, really, because already we're going to be running out of military science really soon. So that's fairly high on the list of towns to make. Though all the towns are high on the list, they're all urgent, they're all things I could really do with right now. But anyway, we have named the town, I have chosen the name, and it is Worcester. It just worked in so many different ways, it was quite awesome. It was also one of the highest voted ones, and I remembered to mention the name of the guy who suggested it, Eric Carlson, and that rings a bell. I think he's come up with names before. Maybe I'm wrong and I've just gone crazy, but I feel like I've heard that name before and that he has previously suggested a name for another town. So if that's the case, congratulations again. Otherwise, congratulations for the first time, whichever one it is. I forget if you have named one or not before. Maybe I just recognize your name because I've seen you commenting before or whatever, not really sure. But it was one of the highest voted comments, which is quite good, and I do listen to that. I do pay attention to people showing particular support for a particular name. I will never put it entirely to a vote because that is just a recipe for Towny McTownface, and so I always keep it. I always have the final vote. And yes, so that was he was the one who suggested it. It fits in so many different ways because there is Worcest, which is refers to equipment or money used for war, and of course that is the town making the equipment that we will be using for a sort of mini war we're about to wage against the biters. And also Chester comes from the Roman word for castrum, which means a fortified military base, and so it fits perfectly. But yes, enough etymology for now. That is all we have time for today, so I should say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.